Okay, so part 2 of the RMR lab, we have our subject, Morgan, in position on the exam table. Just to give you his anthropometric measurements, he's 25 years old. His height is 191.5 centimeters. He's 236 pounds. Resting blood pressure, 130/90. Seems a bit high, Morgan. A little stressed. Okay. And resting heart rate was 74. Okay. Room temperature, which is asked for in your lab, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So I put in his statistics into the metabolic cart. The next thing that we're going to show you is the placement of the gas collection hood, which Evan is going to get started with Morgan right now. So we're tucking the soft plastic under the pillow. Really, we're just trying to create a seal so no air is escaping from the hood itself. We just want it to come out through the expiration hole, which is there. We just kind of flatten this against his chest. So inspired air is coming from the top. We're going to hook up the hose to collect the expired gases here. So I'm just going to remove this from the syringe. Do you want a towel over your eyes, for your eyes? So we want him to stay awake, but we don't want the light from above to just give him a headache. So we're going to place a towel sort of covering just his upper head. Again, it is important for him to stay awake. So we'll check in with him periodically during the test. Now we want to mention the flow meter. We'll talk about that here momentarily. I'm going to first go ahead and just hit OK now that we have them all hooked up. It's telling me to turn the dilution pump on, which I'll do. And we're going to adjust the flow rate based upon his body mass. So for somebody of Morgan's body mass, we're going to be looking for a flow rate of 35.7 liters per minute. So once the data starts running, I'll adjust the dilution pump knob here to increase the flow rate so it's appropriate for his body size. And again, that's going to pull air out of the canopy to make sure he's not going to have CO2 accumulating in there, which would obviously be a bad thing. So I don't know if we can zoom in on the flow. It was at 0 because the knob was down. So I'm going to slowly turn this to get this number up close to, what do we say, 37. Which is a fairly high rate. We can hear air blowing out of the back of the cart, which is normal because again, that's creating some suction. Morgan, give us a thumbs up if you can breathe okay. Okay. Okay, now that we've had the test running for about 30 seconds, now we're starting to get some data that is populating. So with this particular program, the information at the top of the screen is going to refresh every 30 seconds, okay, with the data stream being displayed down here at the bottom of the page. The flow rate is something you kind of need to constantly adjust during the test. So it bumped up a little bit higher than where I left it. It's a little higher, above 40. So I'm going to turn it down slightly. Keep it close to 37. Okay. And essentially from here, we're just going to let him rest for, on the lab, we give 25 minutes. What we're looking for is for his numbers to really stabilize. Since he walked or biked to campus, his metabolism was elevated slightly, so his numbers are a little higher than resting currently based upon the activity that he's done this morning, etc. Morgan, do you have any coffee yet today?
No.
He says no. Okay, so that's good. As we reviewed in the PowerPoint, there are several things you would want to cue the subject to not do before the test to make sure their metabolic rate is not elevated by a stimulant or stress, etc. So That could take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to stabilize, which is why we allow so much time for this test. Okay? So what we're going to do then is take up another pause. We're going to let Morgan continue to lay there for around 20 to 25 minutes. I will record the data and I will share it with you when we come back with part 3 to conclude the test.